Workplace mobbing and sabotage are the weapons used in gang stalking for financial destabilization. Mobbing at work is designed to make you act out, act in a way that's unacceptable in the workplace, seemingly unravel, if you will. Too many reports, too many outbursts. Surely everyone is not against you. You're the problem. So I have a counseling background and I knew presentation and packaging of the workplace harassment was essential. I was very careful in how I packaged my workplace mobbing to management. I always focused on the police officer who initiated me into the program and not, you know, his associates. What I thought it was just a police officer and his associates. I wasn't aware at the time that it was a larger system. And so I really just thought it was a lone demonic corrupt cop and his associates he was able to puppeteer. But I knew it would be disadvantageous to present the larger group. People tend to not believe that people are so depraved as to assemble a team to stalk and harass people. So to shore up your mental health, I've put together this video. Your mind is not playing tricks on you. There is indeed a collaborative, concerted effort to undermine and discredit you in the workplace if you are enduring workplace mobbing. There's a concerted effort to cause you to be deemed unstable, dangerous even, and unfit for the position. So here's my experience with workplace mobbing really quickly. I worked for two large entities. One was an insurance company and the other was it was a hospital that's been around for a long time, supposedly a great reputation in Richmond, Virginia. So I was employed by the insurance company, but in conjunction with the hospital. My role was to ensure that patients were discharged effectively, discharged without the need of rehospitalization within a reasonable time frame. So initially, I worked from home. I experienced some efforts of sabotage while working from home, like computer remote access. Um, each time I left my computer, I would return, and all the caps would be the all caps light would be on, and I know that sounds commonplace, but and it could have been an error on my part, but one time, two times would be reasonable to think that this was almost every time I left my computer to take a break, to use to take a potty break, to grab a snack, make coffee, return. It would, all caps light would be on a great deal of the time, right? Work files would be deleted or altered. When I noticed an email was generated in the draft section that I didn't generate, or I think it was on a Sunday, I informed my supervisor that my stalking and harassment was bleeding over into my job. I was able to confirm that my work computer was accessed by checking Windows Defender. It provided, a list of logins. I would identify logins that I didn't initiate. I made IT aware of this occurrence. What did they do? They took away my access to Windows Defender. They said I needed clearance, some type of clearance, another level of clearance to access Windows Defender. So I was enduring this as well as do attacks during work hours. So if that wasn't a challenge enough, I decided to challenge myself further and volunteer to work on site. It would give me a change, I thought. And surely the demonic, corrupt cop would not be so brazen to continue his illegal practices at a hospital. Wrong. That was wrong thinking. Immediately, there were signs of his demented fingerprints where I was employed. For instance, my first day of work, I'm assuming they went before me and did that smear campaign, aligned security against me, and this security guard feigned chivalry and asked if he could take my bag for me and I could walk through the security um, line without my bag. Now, being a new TI, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about why is he separating me from my bag when everybody else has their bags, right? But when I got my bag back, it was all scraped up, much like they do when they scrape up your car, when they scrape up your furniture, anything nice, anything appealing, anything they probably, deem valuable. And I mean, I don't have this kind of mindset, so I don't know the process and the psychology behind it, but they will scrape up nice things that I've noticed. And I know this sounds bizarre. I forgot to say that preface this video with much of this stuff that you're going to hear sounds bizarre. It's not lost on me. This is a bizarre occurrence that's happening in my life and many others. This is not something that we don't know sounds grossly bizarre. It is bizarre. So anyway, I just noticed immediately that they had infiltrated the hospital just by that one act, and so the stalking and harassment bled over rather quickly to the on-site job. For instance, cars would park so close to me on both sides that I couldn't get in and out safely. And, or I guess what I mean safely is that without damaging the car beside me or my car. Well, I would arrive to my car after purposely, I was purposeful in locking the doors. So I know I locked it, they would be open. A lot of TIs talk about this. This is not something that's probably new, but just to sure up new TIs to say that, no, you're not losing it. They're really doing this childish stuff. They're really following us around and paying people to engage in such foolishness. So they would leave like, a good sized rock in my car. I'm assuming that's just to say, we know where you are. We've been here. I'm not sure why these people persist, considering I have not one day shown any fear of them. I just don't have any fear. It is, anyway, I'll move on. I'll get to that later. And so I had enough of it, right? Where you just, want to see if you can address it somehow. Until I go to the chief of police at the hospital. And initially, they seemed very serious about the matter. They were very helpful. Gave me direct numbers to my local police station, who then started an investigation and was moving an investigation forward because I had a lot of evidence against this corrupt cop. But that changed very quickly. I noticed I had started being monitored on the job by the police officers there at the hospital, everywhere. Initially, I didn't see any officers, and then I started seeing them all the time, just posted up, waiting for me to walk by, following me. As soon as I walked by, they would walk behind me, and those sort of things, right? I don't know what that was to instill. I'm assuming fear, or send a message that you're dangerous or something like that. I'm not sure. But I was walking down the hall when I passed two police officers, and one announced I should knock that coffee out of her hand. Let me tell you, only God and my awareness not to be perceived as insane kept me from responding because I wasn't fearful, you know. But when you start, responding back to everything, they will certainly label you as someone who's unraveling because surely they think, or even they're in on it, you know. Surely all of these people aren't targeting you, attacking you. And so I knew better um, than to respond, not out of fear, um, but out of um, an attempt to um, ensure that I wasn't labeled, you know. But it was a coordinated effort there. They had janitors. I know this sounds insane, so I have to say this, y'all. They had janitors to watch me. The janitors would arrive just before me, and I would get there about 9 o'clock, and the janitors would be sitting up, posted up, right at the entrance of my um, office area, a man and a woman. And so when I would go to do rounds, to do assessments on people, they would still be sitting there at 11 o'clock. I did that. I had a schedule I set for myself. So at 11 o'clock, I would go through my rounds and they would be still sitting there. These people didn't budge, janitors. But every day, uh, when I returned, they would be gone. And then it was someone else's turn to, monitor me. And that would generally be a social worker or the receptionist. Um, and so one of the social workers who wasn't there very much, she worked from home. She even advised, I wonder what these janitors are doing up here so much. All of a sudden they're sitting around for hours. And she was perplexed. She said, I've never even seen this before. What's going on? Um, but um, I had already suspected that they were, um, being used to once again monitor. It is the craziest, most outlandish thing I've ever seen. So my office mate would pick up the monitoring at that stage, and the receptionist, and just report on my whereabouts. My office mate, generally, multiple times a week, he would announce that he had a one-on-one counseling session to do, and I had to leave the office, so I would go home and work from home for the rest of the day. But as soon as I hit the elevator to exit the hospital, do a somewhat of a long walk to the exit, there would be, multiple police officers waiting. As soon as I walked by, they would begin to walk, or, or a person just leaned up against the wall waiting for me. As soon as I begin to walk by them, they would begin to walk. It's just strange. These are some strange people and a waste of money. This can't be something that people are getting out of their houses to do as a favor. It has to be incentivized financially. So anyway, I was followed by, like I said, janitors, nurses, big time, social workers, receptionists, medical assistants, and of course the police and security. There was noise campaigns and a hospital, guys. In a hospital, it was absurd. You know, I would put on headphones and I wouldn't hear it, but I was thinking, these people are professionals, you know, and I've been trying to figure out the demons in these people that would make them comfortable enough in displaying such ridiculous adolescent behaviors. I did some research, and I'm not well versed in the demonic. I don't really pour my attention to that at all. I pour my attention into the things of God. But um, I found somewhere, plentiful information on a demon of foolishness. I don't know if that's a real thing or not. I'm just trying to figure out what's operating in these people that cause them to consistently display this kind of foolishness, this level of demonical behavior. I'm at a loss. I don't know. But it's something that's quite odd. So, let me see here. Oh, you all are not going to believe this. And I know this is very odd. but there were also dew weapons at the hospital. Now, the hospital rooms were quite separate from offices, right, where I was housed at work. They were quite separate, but still, um, I was just really dumbfounded that I was experiencing dew at the hospital. Here's what happened. I had to work from home for about a week because of a water main break or some type of water um, issue. And immediately, it was in the office directly beside me. Immediately, I knew that they were going to set up their energy weapons. And I knew it was staged. I knew it was. Soon as I returned, sure enough, there was the dew. Again, this sounds bizarre, but it is accurate. It is true. It is a fact. Soon as I returned, the dew weapons, or the energy weapons were present, and and I was experiencing them. And at the same time, my office mate disappeared. He was no longer in the office, much at all. Uh, and so shortly after that, I requested to work from home. I wasn't afraid on site, but there's something very unempowering about not being able to respond to covert aggression. Because if you do, again, you'll be labeled unstable. So I requested to work from home so that I wouldn't be challenged with with silence and remaining composed, though provocation was everywhere. You know, I had one person, guys, you'll be interested in this. I think one person, we had a friendly interaction for a while, and she tried to pull me aside and let me know what was going on. Um, and I was in another department. Well, I wasn't in another department. I was in the area to visit patients. So I was in that area where the hospital rooms are. Just doing rounds and meeting with patients, completing assessments, and I feel someone touch my arm and pull me to them, and it's the young lady that I've been friendly with. And as soon as she pulled my arm and grabbed me to her, a nurse demon, and I call them that because, I don't know what else to call them. These people were persistent and 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 enjoying. They would be laughing. They would have a good time. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What demons are in you people? Um, but a demon nurse um, was leaning up against the wall. I hadn't even noticed her. But as soon as the girl grabbed me, this nurse popped up from the wall and gave her a stare of death. And the woman released my arm without saying a word while looking terrified at this nurse demon who had stood up from the wall. And I know that sounds crazy to call someone a demon like that, but, um, you know, this was a field where we really respected the people. You thought that they were altruistic professionals. Professionals? Nope. They are. This stuff is a matter of the heart. You can't trust the field itself. You really gotta, you know, judge a person by their character and by, it's a matter of the heart. It's not if you're a nurse, a doctor, a police officer. All of these people are gang stalkers. Not you know what I mean. The people who are actually gang stalking. It is not. It should not be hard to believe that this stuff is permeated every walk of life, every profession. Anyway, so she reprimanded her silently, and the woman released my arm, And so shortly after um, returning to home for work, work from home, I was laid off. And I think the program had something to do with ensuring I was laid off. And I'll tell you why. After they announced the layoff and informed me that I was one of the people being laid off, I discovered that they needed more people because they had laid off too many people. And so I was told by a supervisor that I respected, and I felt that she respected me as well. She was certain that I would be one of the ones chosen to remain on because of my exceptional work reviews. And so after inquiring, some time went by, I inquired further with the supervisor, and I was told something generic like, you'll find something soon, I'm sure. Something like that. And then, and at this point, my former direct supervisor, who had been laid off with me, but found something within the company, I was sure that she was a part of it. I really was. And I won't go into that right now. But here's why the mobbing happens at work. I said all that to get to this. They want to weaken you financially. They weaponize workplace mobbing to financially destabilize you. Without resources, you increase in vulnerability. If you don't have family or friends to support you, it's easier to target for experimentation or deprogramming to reprogramming efforts. It's easier to do that. So, your self worth is sometimes attached to the ability to care for yourself. You would be more susceptible to that demonic suggestions about yourself. Again, reprogramming. Um, if you are financially compromised, you would be more apt to believe that these gang stalkers are somehow better than you. You may be more apt, right? Making you more pliable for their demonical games. Whatever this is, whatever that is. I'm not, I don't really get it. I can't wrap my mind around it, but I would suggest TI sympathizers, TI supporters to get on board and offer their assistance, their voice, their expertise. I've been praying that the Lord raise up courageous people after his heart in strategic places. I know that this evil can permeate society, and I think it already has. Just rather covert right now, but it's definitely being uncovered. But I think if these people choose to ignore this when there is an awareness of it, that it could visit you. They might want to rethink that. They believe that this will bypass them if they just mind their business and take care of their own families. So I call it the iron-hearted syndrome, where, something, an evil of this level is presenting in society, but we choose to ignore it. And there's so many people affected and infected, with these evil people who join it to carry out the gang stalking practices. But I believe that in the name of Jesus that this darkness will be uncovered, that this darkness will be dealt with the spirit of justice. I believe the spirit of justice is addressing this issue even now. I just pray that Satan's employees will stop growing. They seem to add new people. When you expose yourself to something new or move to this state or get into this position or try this kind of um, activity. They have to go inform more and more and more people. I don't see how this thing has remained silent for so long. It must be some type of heavy threat if you disclose this thing because, with my case, you know, it started with a neighborhood and then, I'm a sure family that have proven to be um, um, gang stalkers. And, y'all might be interested in this as well. I just discovered that somebody else in my circle, not inner circle, but nonetheless, I had a lot of respect for this person. Well, not a lot, but I had some respect for this person. I want to keep it in, you know, as real as possible. I had some respect for this person and um and some trust. Well, a lot of trust actually for this person. And they've proven to be a gang stalker. Um it's not shocking to me because it again it takes a certain type of person to do this. And I will be frank, this person professes to be a Christian, but is a real mean Christian. You know, real mean Christian, cursing Christian. Um, and even reached out. I, pray certain prayers about, justice for us, the spirit of justice addressing this situation, that God would completely annihilate this darkness that's over our lives. And I really believe that they reached out to practice a principle in the Bible, and that is to bless those who curse you. And when I say that, I mean, I think these gang stalkers or those who especially do the monitoring, day-to-day monitoring. I'm sorry. I think they carry back information to put more wood in the fire, to keep the fire going. So I'm assuming this person was reaching out to bless me. And there's a scripture that talks about blessing your enemy. I'm not sure how I became an enemy for this person, but it just seemed odd the way it was delivered to me. But you can be, feign closeness with the Lord by words and knowing His word or knowing some of His word, but your heart absolutely is far from Him to engage in this kind of matter. And then I'm also like, how dare you? If they seem to take offense that you don't have good thoughts towards them when you discover that they're gang stalkers. They're like, yeah, how dare you talk about me in that way? How dare you, feel this way about me? And you're a gang stalker. Yeah, I don't know much. There's only a few things that's worse than a gang stalker to me. Because it takes a real depraved person, a real dark heart. No one affirmed would get into this situation. Again, it's a real spirit of stupidity. That's a real demonic spirit of stupidity, demonic spirit of foolishness to engage in this. Because, it's some foolish stuff that occurs. They run around trying to, further harass, further stalk, and they, as soon as something unfolds, they grab hold of that and try to move a particular thing forward in an era that may be harmful to you, to further stalk and harass. It's a real foolish demon. that they have running around in them. So be encouraged. It's not you. And I know I'm talking a particular way, but I was really not shocked. So for all you new TIs, you may want to. I hope this doesn't happen to you, but you may want to just get prepared for, discovering people who you thought were, loyal and sane and trustworthy and godly turn out to not be, even though there were signs there that you chose to ignore because you did see goodness in them, but you had thoughts um, about their brand of Christianity anyway. But anyway, um, I got a little. I'm trying to decide as I keep talking about adding this little video at the back because it really. I've been saying this for years, and you all may be interested in seeing this. I've been saying this for years about the Spider-Man scene that really captures when you have power to do good and you're aware of an evil and you ignore it. That very thing could visit you, and you would want people to be courageous, to at least speak up for you, to say something, do something for people that are in particular fields of expertise that could move this thing forward to addressing this evil properly, holding people accountable. Because I trust God that even the smallest of tasks will be addressed somehow, and of course to the more significant taskers. I just want the Lord to address it how He sees fit. But I do know the Spirit of justice is addressing this. So, but anyway, I want to tell you all about Spider-Man. I know this is a weird integration, but it is so fitting. Remember the scene when Spider-Man noticed that a thief, was running out of a scene where he had just stolen money from someone, and the victim was yelling for help, but Spider-Man had a bit of an attitude because that victim had just had bad dealings with him. I don't remember the whole story, but bad dealings with him, right? And he came up to Spider-Man and said, "Why didn't you help? I needed you. That man just stole a lot of money from me." And Spider-Man retorted, "Well, what does that have to do with me?" Right? And that man was really disappointed. 5 minutes later, Spider-Man's uncle was ended because that same robber, trying to get away from the police, was shooting, ran into Spider-Man's uncle and ended him. Right? So I say that to say, people are going on with their lives aware of this atrocity, not doing anything, and I mean nothing, not speaking towards it. I do believe there's people that's maybe not even contributing to it in terms of in a malicious way, being a gang stalker, but they have an awareness and they're silent. There has to be a way where you can contribute to this atrocity ending for thousands of people, if not millions, worldwide. Thousands of people. And so I think I will run that clip for you all about Spider-Man. So take a listen real quick. It's really short, but I think this is going to hit my point out of the park, where you just can't sit on your hands and do nothing when you are aware and you can contribute to the process of counseling this level of darkness, this level of evil. So take a listen, guys.
Put the money in the bag. Hurry up! Hey! He stole the game! Stop that guy! Stop him! He's got my money! Thanks. What the hell's the matter with you? You let him go! Cut him off the lobby and call the cops!
You could have taken that guy apart. Now he's going to get away with my money.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
Sir, you gotta get back. Get back to me, all right? What happened?
You ain't never.
And so, yeah, so I want you all to take heart, guys. Stand firm. No shrinking. You are being targeted because there's worth and specialness in you. People do not target and give their attention to nothingness. And so, just take heart. Stand firm. You're not the weird one. There is an assignment by these demons to infiltrate our lives, and we're going to trust God that He's going to fight, that He's going to give us the victory, that He's going to annihilate this darkness completely, and that our lives will be reclaimed in Yeshua's name. So be sure not to take any suggestions from the enemy. Even that blessing that I received from that person, I am certain that the enemy sent her, and for whatever reason I will not be fooled, beguiled in any way, even with a blessing from the enemy. I don't want a blessing from the enemy, so I reject it. Because he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So even if he comes with a blessing, please know the agenda, right? And so we reject it all. I don't want a blessing from you. I reject it all. My blessings come from the Most High, not from the enemy. I reject it, and so I want to pray this over you. It is Philippians 4, 6 through 7, chapter 4, verse 6 through 7. You will not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Amen. Blessings and peace be over the remainder of your week and your life. God bless you all.